What's going on, y'all? Welcome to another episode of the Speak Up Sports Podcast with Cass, Chris, and Shy. What's going on, fellas?
Good.
Back at it. It's hot. I'll tell you that much.
It's definitely hot.
It's for so hot, man.
I just got back from Philly / Jersey, and it was hot. It was hot there. I mean, it's everywhere.
Subtle flex. But yeah.
It's not a subtle flex. But anyway, we talked about it a little bit. We're in the dead period of really where, baseball is kind of in the midst of slowly getting closer and closer to the playoffs. Obviously, the NBA just recently finished with the Celtics winning the championship, and we're getting into the summer league. The real summer league actually starts tomorrow. NFL getting closer and closer to training camp. We'll probably get into training camp here in about 2-3 weeks, and we even got the Olympics coming up with the NBA or the USA basketball team having their first exhibition game last night. But with that being said, with speaking on the USA basketball team, that's kind of where I feel like a lot of the news is right now. We got to see LeBron and Steph finally play together for the first time last night, even though it was kind of short. But the bigger news is Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard took a quick exit from the USA team. Speculation has come out that it could possibly be due to, kind of the recovery from his injury, making sure he's straight, getting into the season. How do you guys feel about the news, the messaging that they put out saying that it was kind of a Clippers and USA basketball thing? Grant Hill came and said that they felt they needed to pivot. How do you guys feel about that, and what Kawhi's career will look like moving forward?
One of them, it's only a matter of time type shit. Like, I mean, he already struggled. I find it hard to believe that they let him go ahead and go through with it when he struggled to even get on the court during the playoffs. And you got this dead period after, y'all losing the playoff round. That's the time you need to just go ahead and, since they already pivoted from Paul George, you are their franchise player. At this point, you need to get back right. And if it is a decision by both parties, it makes sense. But I mean, it's like one of them things. It was like it was bound to happen. It's interesting that he even went out there to begin with. To me,
that's where I'm at with it. Like he shouldn't have accepted it in the first place. And honestly, if I was Grant Hill and the other decision makers there, I wouldn't even invited him. Like we all understand that he's one of the top talents in the league. That's nobody disputes that. But we gotta be realistic with what you expect. I guess their thinking was he's only gonna play 15 to 20 minutes a night. Like, they don't go out there and play, full games, obviously. So I guess that was their line of thinking with adding him on. But like Chris said, he couldn't even finish the season for his squad. Why did he even accept that? Because I think we even mentioned this when we got the rosters that between him and Joel,
I said we'll see if he'll play.
Yeah. Between him, Joel, and I think AD will be healthy enough to go through it. But those three, you just never know. You really never know. So it's not surprising. I think they wasted a lot of time. But I think the more surprising part, which we'll get to, is his replacement. But what were your initial thoughts?
Honestly, I feel like everybody kind of had the same, damn, number one, it's a missed opportunity. We wanted to be able to see LeBron, the big four, the true big four. I know obviously James Harden has won an MVP, during this era. Russ has won an MVP during this era. But I think, consensus is the big four of this era has been LeBron, KD, Steph, and then Kawhi. So, them getting that opportunity to play together for the first time, I think everybody was kind of looking forward to that. So disappointing on that end. But, my first initial thought, I guess outside of him, was number one. Yeah, well, we expected it, kind of. It wasn't a shock. Like, I don't think anybody was shocked. But my second thought was what happens with Joel Embiid, honestly, because Joel Embiid, we saw, was laboring throughout the playoffs. I don't believe at all that his knee is right at all. I don't know how it would be right. That that quick if it wasn't right after the however month layoff he had before the playoffs. So I mean, I think I have a feeling that he might end up also getting replaced at some point. Not wishing any injury on him, but I don't even know. Once again, if anybody, like you said, I don't know why Kawhi accepted it. I really don't know why Joel accepted it, because given the fact that you haven't been able to stay healthy throughout any season,
And I feel
I
like
would.
I feel like that's why they kind of, I wouldn't say heavy, but I feel like in past years they only usually have like one center maybe, but the fact that they got him, AD, and Bam, I think they figure like, hey, Joel, if he plays, it ain't gonna be much. So I think they kind of foresaw that, but they was obviously hoping, like, because obviously when he is healthy, he is right. He's a dominant player in the NBA, but it just, like you said, like we all
I
been
don't
saying,
know.
like,
Yeah,
how they gonna
I
what?
think he
I don't
pushed.
know,
I think
man.
he pushed hard for this spot. I think that's why they gave it to him. But his game clearly ain't built for
Yeah.
female. We saw that last night. That was a rough outing,
Yeah.
man. And
It was basically once it felt like once he left the court, they were just out and running. I mean,
Yeah,
uh-huh.
AD and
80.
Bam was doing what they supposed to do. I mean,
I
they
Which
was
think a lot of
that's
that has to do with their versatility, their ability to
yep.
move comparatively. I mean, he can move, obviously, for a big man. He can move for his size, but I mean, he definitely didn't look right last night. My opinion.
Yeah.
it looked like he just had weight on him. Like he just couldn't. Yeah, it wasn't
But
looking good.
we always saw Team USA play with tempo. They're like every single, like, especially like over the past 14, 16 years or whatever, we've seen them play with tempo. Like that's what they do. They don't sit there and let's give Joel, a player like him the rock, and it's like, no, it's just never been that way. We play defense, we lock up, and they hit fast breaks. It's really what it is, and fast break threes. And he doesn't fit that mold, like especially not now. If you're like, he's not moving all the way right, which we saw in the playoffs, he's not moving all the way right, even though So, yeah, I would not be shocked if they replace Joel too, and I think they should, and they definitely should start him. But that's a whole nother
I
story.
think they should too, but I don't know who specifically, because Jaren Jackson, he was there. He did the summer circuit last year with them, and he didn't play bad. I won't say he played bad, but I know rebound was obviously a major factor for him. And I don't know. I don't know if they would go and get him. I would love to see Evan Mobley go there. I think he would excel in the international format. I think that Chet would as well, but I mean, I don't know if Chet's ready for that in terms of his size and stuff like that. You probably say the same, but Evan obviously has a couple years on him. I would like to, but you could probably
But
say
I do want
the
to
same
see a
about
young
him.
guy though. I do want to see like a young big, like even like he might not get that much PT, but even Derek Lively, huh?
I would say Walker Kessler. Bring
Walker
him back,
Kessler, yeah, they're like just a springy body, just a young body. That's all they need. They don't need Joel Embiid, which I know he was. It's important to him to play for the USA or whatever, even though he has multiple citizenships and born in Cameroon and all this stuff. I know he was really for years even trying to get this going. So
I will say that I do kind of and I mean, it's not been very loud. It's a lot of social media stuff. The hate that's been thrown his way because he has multiple citizenships and stuff like that. That's just whack.
Crazy.
That shit's whack, bro. Like at the end of the day, bro's been here for however many years. He wants to play for this country. He plays for this country professionally. He works here. He lives here. Like, So I mean, I think that was kind of whack. But to get back to the Kawhi and him being replaced, obviously he was replaced with Derrick White, another Celtics, which makes 3 Celtics officially on the roster. And there's been some noise about one Celtic kind of being a little upset. But not to get too much into the Jaylen Brown aspect of it, how do you guys feel about the Derrick White addition? Do you think that, would you have preferred to see somebody else or even Jaylen Brown? He's come out, just to give everybody a little bit of background, Jaylen Brown has put out some comments that you can, on Twitter, that you can make the assumption is about him being snubbed for this USA team. Obviously, he's coming off of a good postseason, where he ultimately won Finals MVP and Eastern Conference
JB,
Finals
nigga.
MVP. Would you guys have liked to see, him, or who else would you guys have liked to see other than Derrick White, or do you think that Derrick White fits well?
Say this. I obviously don't care Derrick White, but I would say I really believe the reason why they did it is because it's already hard enough for them to find minutes everywhere. Like what would putting putting him on the team and he might not even get the minutes. He might even go lash out some more for whatever fucking reason. And I feel like Derrick White is one of the few people. I'm not saying anybody else couldn't do it, but he ain't gonna complain. He just gonna be like, oh, whatever. It's cool. He's gonna play defense when he get in. But I think that was one of the things that because if you go out there and get, like, let's say a Jalen Brunson, I mean, people gonna be expecting him to play. People gonna be expecting him to actually do something. But you already got all these other guards that's already there. So I could see why they Derrick White. Obviously, most people wouldn't. That'd be probably the last person you could think of to be like Derrick White maybe on a FIBA team, but not on the Olympic team. But I mean, I just think for fit purposes, I think it works for them because you ain't got to worry about him moaning, groaning, or whatever. He's gonna be there. He's just gonna be like, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree with that too, but I think them replacing him with Derrick White kind of shows what they had in plan for Kawhi. And I kind of mentioned it earlier about him playing like 15 to 20 minutes a night. He was obviously not going to play that a lot. For them to feel comfortable replacing him with a player like Derrick White. So I think it just falls in line with that. I'm not too mad over it. I just wouldn't have done it. I think my thing is the size aspect of it all. I mean, and of course they know more about the international competition, about how big these guys are more than I do, of course. But I would think that you replace a 6'7" guy with another forward, and that's my only thing with it. I just think it's a lot of guards. So, and then because really all you got right now, wing wise, is KD, Bron, and Tatum.
Yeah, but I was also gonna say, they had to divvy up the minutes last night, and that was without KD.
Yeah,
and you still got to put him in. So that's why I said it. But go ahead, Kay.
Yeah, I just think it just falls in line with their thought process of what they planned on doing with Kawhi, which was not a lot. Because they have Ty Lue as a coach on the team. And Ty Lue didn't sign a new contract for Kawhi to come out there and just be injured at the beginning of the season. So it all just falls in line. It's just a lot of stuff that didn't come to light until now.
And honestly, to be honest with you, I honestly didn't take it as I didn't take it as he is a direct Kawhi replacement. Like he was the next up guy, but I don't view him as a Kawhi replacement. And I don't, we add, just to speak on Jaylen Brown and kind of the stuff that Jaylen Brown could have been added to the team. He would have been the last person on the bench, in my opinion. I mean, who is he going over? I mean, is he better than? I mean, just not really. I'm dead ass not trying to hate. Is he going to go over Drew? I mean, maybe you could say he's a better player than Drew, but Drew's obviously
they put Drew in the starting lineup last night. So
exactly. Drew's. Most people probably say that Drew's the best defensive player on the team, at least perimeter wise. So he's not going over Tyrese Halliburton. We all saw last night how Tyrese made the offense work. I mean, he's not going over Ant. We know that. I mean, Devin Booker would probably be it would kind of come down to him, KD, or Jason Tatum, at the end of it. So, yeah, no disrespect, but bro, like, I mean, I get it. He's a Finals MVP, and he wants to be on the team, and probably feels that he deserves an opportunity. But I mean, I also think that the Derrick White thing, it is a little weird that it's Derrick White out of all the names. Because I would have liked to see Trae Young. I think he deserved a chance more than, a lot of people. But once again, where does he kind of fit in there? Because you do have the Tyrese Halliburton factor. Obviously, Steph's a point guard. Drew's a point guard as well. With LeBron, who's, point forward, point guard, however you want to do it. So, I mean, it was tough. And then you had other guys like Donovan Mitchell, for example. He probably would have gotten the nod. Once again, not trying to be disrespectful. He probably would have gotten the nod over Jaylen Brown. He denied going to the USA Olympics. So there's players that have denied the invitation. If some people didn't know, Donovan was one of the players that denied it. I'm sure maybe somebody like Jalen Brunson maybe have had conversations about it.
PG
and
too. I
probably
think. I
denied it.
think PG denied it.
I think
After.
PG denied it as well. Jalen Brunson, he was hurt. Obviously, he did his little wrestling, show, and some people got upset because I think he tweaked his hand a little bit. But
He definitely did. He said he was good, but he
he said
definitely
he was good. But I just don't know. I mean, it's tough. It's tough because as great as a postseason as he's had, as great as a season as he's had, as good as he's been over the past few years, it's like there's so many guys that are, around his age or even younger that people I would say are number one want to see. I mean, outside of Celtics fans, no disrespect again, I'm not sure anybody's like clamoring to be like, oh, let's go watch Jaylen Brown in the freaking USA Olympics. So I mean, it's a tough position, but I
Ain't
mean,
nobody trying to see no fucking Tyrese Halliburton, man. You can say Ant, cool, I give you Ant. Nobody trying to see no fucking Halliburton, bro. Don't
you
give me
say
that.
that. I mean,
Nobody trying to see that shit.
I would probably agree with you, but Tyrese Halliburton, I mean, in terms of his playmaking, he's arguably the best
He's
player.
obviously a way better player.
And then I do think that there has been like a little push to kind of for Tyrese Halliburton, and also he was on the FIBA team in this past summer, so
yeah,
it just made for a tough situation. I mean, you would like to see him get an opportunity at least for a tryout. I don't know if he even got invited or if there was any talks there, but I mean, it's just a tough situation. But like I said, I didn't see it as directly a Kawhi replacement in terms of like Derrick White's coming to replace. Like Derrick White might not even get any PT.
That's why that's the main reason why I think they pick somebody like Derrick White. Like you can't. I mean, I don't know. Even if you pick Trae Young, I don't think you'll put him over half the people on the team anyway. So
that's why I think they should have just put Cooper Flag on the team.
And that's what I was about to say. I'm wondering maybe if Cooper Flag, if he had something going on, and maybe they were like, nah, like
because that just made a lot. It made after the push that came out after that little scrimmage that he had. It just made a lot of sense to just replace it with Cooper Flag. Why not? He doesn't expect to play, but if he does, I mean that's what they did with. That's what they did with AD when he was in Cooper's position while he was still,
I mean, AD,
not even
Christian
NBA
Laettner, and historically,
Christian,
there's always, always been, not always, but there's been college guys that have joined on, and obviously we've heard all the rave reviews about Cooper Flag, so I mean, I'm pretty excited to kind of see him, obviously at Duke, and maybe one of the first few superstars we've had really since I feel like Zion. Zion's the last like superstar college player that we've had. I mean, I feel like, obviously Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese in the women's game. But in men's basketball, thinking off the top of my head, I can't think of anybody else that's you would say is just like a superstar at the college level.
He's gonna get a lot of eyes on Duke, man. I know they can't wait. I know they can't wait
for sure. But outside of that, I mean, brief thoughts. Obviously, we got a few minutes. We got to see the USA team play for the first time. We got the highly anticipated LeBron or Steph to LeBron alley-oop, and they ended up handling Canada pretty well. Real quick, you guys have any quick thoughts of like the initial game? Obviously, we talked a little bit about Joel Embiid and the lack of his fit, but the rest of the team, how do you guys think? Look,
they got to figure out the lineups, of course. Of course, they chose to start Devin Booker over Ant, which was at least online got very criticized. But I mean, I'm not surprised. We all know, and we saw it last year during the qualifiers and FIBA that Steve Kerr likes to experiment during this time with lineups. So it's not surprising. Hopefully they find a good one. But it was a very slow start. But after they got going, I think AD showed up huge. And I think he showed how his impact really is going to be felt throughout this whole tournament. So I'm excited to see it. I'm excited to see it all come together. I hope everybody stays healthy. But once they get going and once they get I really think LeBron really wants this. You can kind of tell so that is the exciting part about it for sure.
For them to practices and you like you said, you clearly the chemistry isn't there yet, but they're just so talented that slick don't matter right now. All you're doing is, like you said, tinkering with the lineups, trying to see what you like, what you don't like. I mean, honestly, ain't no with him. I'm sorry, that shit over with. I don't think nobody can fuck with him. And if AD show up like this, which is this kind of gameplay is tailor made for him, especially with the FIBA rules. Being able to knock the ball off the rim type stuff. Like him and Bam gonna do damage. That's why we go back. You don't really need Embiid in my opinion, but he's there.
I
But
mean,
I
I still think they're gonna need depth. I mean, you got
I mean, yeah,
Gobert,
I'm talking about him particularly.
but you got Gobert and Wemby and Jokic. So I mean, it's gonna be some
teams
bigs
out
that
here
that are big. Like they're gonna have to battle with. So, but
they gave
like
Canada confidence, which wasn't good because I don't even think after the first little stint they didn't even play Shea, Jamal like down the stretch when it was like a 6-point game for for a minute actually, and then they kind of broke away and pushed it up to like double digits. But they didn't bring Shea or Jamal back in. I think they kind of seen what they wanted to see, and they were like, all right, we can kind of. So
I honestly don't. I think if I was Canada, that would have been like I've seen people say the same thing. If I was Canada, I'd have been like, yeah, we're done. We're cooked. I mean, that was without KD. That was with a terrible start. I mean, the moment that the switch flipped and that ugly starting lineup got out, Joel Embiid got out. I mean, it was quick. Like they was moving, they was defending, they was deflecting passes. I mean, so I've seen a lot of
they had
people
like
say
8
that.
turnovers in the first quarter. So
that was bad quarter. That was
sloppy.
Yeah, it was
that
just
was
a bad,
terrible
it was a sloppy quarter.
Yeah,
it was a sloppy quarter. But aside from that, the past couple of days we also have gotten a little bit of we got the Cali Classic for the summer league, so we did get to see Bronny play a couple games. He missed one game with a knee injury. We got to see obviously Dalton connect. We got to see the Kings play, Jazz play, some of their young guys as well. Who, if anybody, are you guys with the official Vegas Summer League starting tomorrow? Who, if anybody, are you guys looking forward to watching the most? Kevin Knox?
Yo, for me, I think it's tough because I'm really just open to seeing everybody because I don't have anything set in my mind about who these players are or going to be. So I'm looking forward, like for instance, Alex R. Even Dalton Connect, like he had a good game. The game on Wednesday, yeah, but the first game was bad. So just like different players like that, I just want to see who stands out. I think it's gonna be one of those runs where you kind of see like somebody like stand out, kind of like Kyle Kuzma kind of did in summer league a few years ago. Just like okay, just like you see a team's depth come through in the summer league. So that's what I'm kind of looking forward to. But those are the couple of players that I'm looking forward to.
That team was crazy, man.
That team was
Lakers
crazy.
Team with Kuz. Go ahead, Chris.
So like the not just the rookies, but like maybe the second year players, see how they develop and see how I mean the other day what's his name Ellis from the Kings
Keanu
man,
Ellis.
yeah man dropping buckets. So I mean I like to see that kind of stuff, see what a year does later for sorry about that, what after your first year what that does for a player. So that's what I'm looking for to see. And obviously the Lakers, I mean everybody want to see what Bronny does. I mean we could talk about it. I mean he's going to be a good ass defender. I can tell he's going to lock down on defense. I mean offense will probably eventually come, but it's going to be interesting to see.
Yeah, the offense will definitely come, and I mean, it's been good to actually just see him, get on the court, play a little bit. We've seen some, some rough off. I wouldn't even say the offense looks rough. I mean, his shot looks fine. It looks like he's taking, like for the most part, it looks like he's taking good shots. They just haven't been dropping, but the defense has definitely been good. And I think everybody kind of expected the offense would be a little bit of a project, but. I'm excited to see Sar Rasache as well because, like you said, there's not really like I don't know if anybody truly has like real expectations for him because we don't know what to expect like out of their games, how it translates. But Zach Edey, he had a pretty good game a couple days ago with the Grizzlies. So I'm excited, and you can kind of see number one, obviously his offense translates. He's been college basketball player of the year. His defense seemed to have translated as well. We'll see how it goes in terms of, like you said, when he gets to see some of those second year players, some of the long time vets that are trying to break into the league or been G leaguers and stuff like that, how they attack him and stuff like that. So it'll be interesting to see. But I'm excited to see. I'm really thinking like he might make some noise for the Grizzlies, and I think the Grizzlies are really looking forward to it. I mean, I talked about it before that they were looking for a big, and they're kind of getting that same Steven Adams at least size with a little bit more offensive game, and maybe even some more shot blocking ability, because Steven Adams wasn't necessarily just a shot.
Yeah, he was a shot
He's
blocker.
a good defender, but he's stout. He's not a shot blocker sending a shit back. So yeah, I'm excited for that. But Cavs get to play. I believe they get to play tomorrow. So I'm also excited just to see my squad. You know what I'm saying?
Some basketball alone, yeah.
Yeah, some basketballs. I mean, summer league is good all the time. I mean, a lot of people don't like it. I don't want to say don't like it, don't watch it. They don't know about it. But I mean, summer league is always good. It's good to see just the young guys, get loose a little bit. You kind of see there's always like a little splash here and there where you're like, oh shit, like I see it. You know what I'm saying? So I'm excited for that.
Yep.
But switching gears to the NFL, another edition of our top tens. Last week we went through some of the corners, our outside corners, and it's funny because ESPN is kind of doing their the executives and the coaches releasing their top 10 that they do every summer. So I'm excited at the end of the series to kind of see, obviously we're projecting out and seeing how they'll be at the end of the season, and they're kind of doing what they are right now. But it will be interesting to see how our list compares once we finish throughout all of it. But getting into the edge position, arguably we could probably say number 2 or number 3 most important position on the field. I'm sure we're all going to have this the same top 4 or 5 that are kind of in their prime. I mean, they're all kind of around the same age. Some guys that have won some Defensive Player of the Years over the past couple of years. So I'm interested to see y'all's list. We can go ahead and get it cracking. Chris, what's up?
Let's get it.
Of Nick Bosa, TJ Watt, Myles Garrett, Michael Parsons, Max Crosby. I got Daniil Hunter.
The 5.
I got Daniil Hunter, Brian Burns. I got Rashawn Gary.
Okay.
And then I wanted to put a rookie in there, so I'm gonna give you your rookie a little love, Shy a little love, Latu. I'm gonna give him a little love, and then this last one was tough, because a lot of these edges that I'm looking at, they're getting a little older, getting a little up there in age. So I'm gonna just go ahead and say Hassan Reddick. He kind of pissed off, so if he get out there, he might play a little something. So yeah,
we gonna see.
I like the Latu pick. He's gonna be nice.
Yeah.
He's gonna be nice. I really think especially next to what he has in Indianapolis.
Latu was, we'll see what my list looks like, but I mean, I think I've talked about it before. I think the Colts are gonna be one of the top 5 to 6 D lines in the league. I mean, they've got top 5 depth for sure. Yeah. So I mean, he could definitely benefit from that. But I was honestly surprised to hear. I mean, we talked about the 5, the Max Crosby's, Miles Parsons, all that. I'm sure we're all gonna have the same ones. But
yeah,
Brian Burns, I was surprised about that one, especially with him being an in-division guy for you.
I just feel like they got a good D line. You got him, you got Thibodeau, and you got Dexter Lawrence there. So I mean, he might catch a lot of 1-on-1s. So I think Cass know about that game 1.
That's look. Brian Burns, he can wreck a game plan now. Yeah. That's what he can do for real. Of course, my top 5 chalk: Max, TJ, Nick, Micah, Miles, of course. But I'm gonna go with Josh Hines Allen.
Recent name change.
Yeah. I'm gonna go with Aiden Hutchinson. I think he takes another step this year. I'm expecting him to be on the upward trajectory. Hopefully, he keeps that way. He has the size. He has the defense overall that supports him. I'm going to Trey Hendrickson. of course, there was a little bit of dispute, earlier this offseason about like whether he wanted to trade or not and all that stuff. So I'm expecting a big year out of him to kind of show that he's worth that money that he wants. So I'm gonna go with him. Jalen Phillips, I think he has a big year in Miami. I'm expecting, it's not too much going on in that line right now. So I think he'll be like the bright spot, especially after losing Christian. I know they tried to bring in some people they brought in. The rookies too, Chop Robinson, but I think he takes Jalen Phillips steps up this year. And then to round it off, I'm gonna go with Will Anderson Jr. And I was trying to go with a young guy. Of course, he was defensive rookie of the year last year, so I'm just go upward trajectory on that too. Between him and like Daniil Hunter, I think it helps Will Anderson a lot more. I think he'll be able to show like his versatility and what he could do, not just rushing the pass, but a lot of other stuff too. So
I'm surprised
I
you
had
Jalen
Phillips, but he hurt. He
Yeah.
just got hurt, so I didn't know like how he would do coming back because he tore his ACL, right?
Achilles.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I thought about him though. I did think about Jalen Phillips because he was having a good year to that shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably the only reason that I didn't go with Jalen Phillips as well. I mean, the Achilles injury, man, I think it's just going to take some time, take a year or so. So, next year maybe. But I mean, I think you could see him having a strong ending to the season, maybe having and I don't even know if he's going to start the season. I don't know if he'll end up on the pup list.
It's still up in the air right now. Yeah. That's why I love.
So, but a solid list. I had the same five, obviously. The Myles Garrett, reigning defensive player of the year, Micah Parsons, TJ Watt, Nick Bosa, Max Crosby. And I mean, similar to everybody, I think that, it's a pretty strong group because, you didn't mention Alex Highsmith. Nobody's mentioned Joey Bosa. We still got what's my boy's name? The other edge and
Khalil
Mack. Golly.
Yeah.
Khalil Mack, legend, Hall of Famer, and I'm forgetting his name. Didn't mention him that could also make some noise. But to round out my next five, I got Aiden Hutchinson as well. I think he makes a jump. Matt Judon, he's been a dominant edge rusher over the past couple years. He got hurt this past year, mid-year, so I think he ends up returning back to form.
That's a good one.
Brian Burns, I also think has a great year. It was really tough between him and Kayvon Thibodeau. I do feel like Kayvon has a little bit of growing to do. Some of his sack numbers have been a little inflated and not based on just pure great pass rushing ability. And not to say that he doesn't have that or anything like that, but I do think Brian Burns takes advantage of the D line. I also went with Will Anderson. I've liked Will Anderson since college. He obviously came on strong towards the end of the season. He kind of went on middle of the season, he kind of went on a little stretch. I mean, he was making noise damn near every game. And then obviously he's going to bring another guy. They replace Grinnard with, Daniil Hunter coming over. I don't know if Daniil Hunter, I wanted to put Daniil Hunter in there, but Daniil Hunter, he's, some years he's hurt, some years he's good and dominant. So I didn't want to take the injury risk. And then rounding out my 10, it was tough, but I'm going to go with my dog, Trayvon Walker. Former number one overall pick.
Okay.
This is a huge year for him, just the same way it was a huge year for Josh Hines Allen now. Josh Hines Allen last year and him going into a contract year. I think, Trayvon Walker, this is kind of the year where they're going to be deciding, like, look, are you that? And, Aiden Hutchinson, we're seeing him, who was drafted right after him, be successful, be good, make some noise, even make noise in the playoffs. So I think he needs a huge year, and I think he puts all the tools together this year. Obviously, I showed some love to Tyson Campbell last week. I do think the Jaguars defense will be pretty good this year. So then I got Trayvon Walker rounding out my 10.
Solid list as well. I think the most fun part about going through this top 10 is how many how much legit talent there is. These positions that we're doing is crazy because when you're sitting there looking at the edge group, it's like you see, and it's not all about sacks. And of course, everybody, you look at the sack numbers, it's like, oh yeah, that's the easy thing to do. But you start looking at pressure rates, you start looking at just overall impact, like run defense rates, like all that stuff. It's like, damn, there's some really solid edges in the league that just do their job, but don't end up with like 15, 16, 17 sacks. You know what I mean? So it's a fun
none of us
group.
mentioned, we didn't even mention like anybody from the Eagles. Obviously, they could 100% be right back where they're the number one team in sacks. They bring my boy over from the Jets, who what was he top? Yeah, he was like top 5 in pressures, I believe, this past year.
And he had like double-digit sacks playing like less than 50% of the snaps.
Less than half the snaps.
Josh Sweat, he kind of got his reassurance from the team that he's around for the long haul, so he could snap.
Boy from this in Chicago, Montez Sweat.
Sweat, Chase Young, he could still, who knows? He could still make some noise.
Would y'all consider Jeffrey Simmons an edge, or
I'd put him more in the D tackle.
The D tackle. He's like a D. Like yeah.
But I mean, definitely. He will be on my top 10 list of D tackles. I promise that. But I mean, like you said, Latu, Dallas Turner as a rookie. I mean, he can be dominant as well, especially with them bringing another guy they're bringing the guy from the Texans, Jonathan Grenard, bringing him over to the Vikings. So they kind of have a stout, edge rush duo. So it's a lot of talent. I mean, we're in a good space in sports just in general. I mean, the WNBA, we obviously seen the influx of talent with the rookies. The NFL, you just talked about it, doing these top 10s. We're seeing the rookies are coming in better and better every year, to the point where you have the Dallas Cowboys questioning if they should pay CD or pay Dak or whatever the hell, because so many good players are coming in. The NBA, I mean, when you don't have a Finals MVP on the USA team, you're probably doing some good things, even though maybe the decisions aren't the best. But I mean, that's a testament to the where the league is in terms of talent and stuff like that. So I mean, I just think I just named a couple sports, but across all sports, the talent level is just getting better and better. So I mean, only good for viewership.
I agree with that.
Only good for viewership. But last question before we sign off, and this is going to be a tough one. Tougher than it's really shouldn't be that tough, but it is going to be kind of tough because you don't know what to expect. Who you guys got winning Summer League?
I'm gonna go Rockets. Houston Rockets.
It's a good choice. They got a lot of young talent.
A lot of young talent that's still playing. I think Amen Thompson is playing. I'm pretty sure he will be playing. He should be playing. But he'll be on the roster. Of course, they got Cam Whitmore, and then they just drafted Reed Shepard, who is lights out shooter. I think it's gonna be a fun team to watch. And they were a fun team to watch even last year. So I think it kind of carries over. Yeah. So I'm gonna go Houston. That's a good question though. It's hard. It's harder than you think.
It's harder than you think. Because you don't know.
Really don't. I'm just gonna go with the Kings. Yeah, no particular reason.
Kings.
Never know.
Yep. Outside of what I said about Ellis the other day, but I
mean the Rockets are a really good one. I don't know, honestly. I mean, there's so many teams that are good. Honestly, I think I'm gonna go with the Raptors. The Raptors do a good job of development. They've got some young guys that on that team that could break out. Get to see Grady again. I'm not going to say his last name, but get to see Grady again, see how he develops and stuff like that. So I'm going to go with the Raptors to edge it out. And I'm excited to see who do we come out with at the end of this summer league that we're like, okay, this dude is like you said, like a Kyle Kuzma. I think everybody, the moment Kyle Kuzma played probably his second game, everybody was like, all right, yeah, he belongs. So I'm excited to see who is that diamond in the rough that ends up showing that they belong. In the long run.
See who steps up. It'll be fun. It'll be fun to talk about too next week after we see some stuff.
Facts. Definitely fun to talk about. But that gives us a wrap for a very quick episode of the Speak Up Sports Podcast. We'll be right back here next week with, like we said, some summer league action. Getting closer and closer to the NFL training camp, so I'm sure we'll get some signings here and there. We'll catch y'all
Jamal
next
Adams.
week. Yeah, Jamal to the Titans. Wow. Catch y'all boys next week, man.